Hi, this is Little Dwarf playing games while rambling incoherently into a microphone. Why? Well, just because I can, and I continue with The Witcher modded. Now, this episode will contain nothing but me reading the journal, so if you're not interested in that, you can just skip it. Normal gameplay will resume from the next one, so let's get to it because there's plenty of stuff. A witch named Abigail lives in a village in the outskirts. Though the villagers buy herbs and potions from her, she also faces much hostility. The reverend informed the congregation that Abigail has uttered the curse of the Hellhound, and the witch was surrounded by an angry mob. I decided she didn't deserve to die and saved her from being lynched. Abigail left the outskirts for good. A boy named Alvin managed to escape Tebarga's attack, which cost his foster mother her life. As a result of the shock, he started to divine the future and uttered the prophecy of Itlin. I suppose Alvin is a source. He has magical powers he cannot control. Alvin lived with Abigail until the witch gave the boy to the reverend. The preacher gave the orphan to the group of salamander thugs, who demanded that the dwellers of the outskirts surrender their children. I killed the bandits and saved Alvin. The mage attacked Kaer Morhen in order to steal the Witcher's secrets hidden in the fortress. One of the leaders of the forces that attacked Kaer Morhen was a mage so powerful that even Triss Merigold could not oppose him. The organization that he leads uses the symbol of a salamander. The mysterious mage using the salamander symbol is a skilled alchemist who is researching mutation. His name is Azar Javed, an exotic name suggesting that he comes from a distant place. Vesemir mentioned a witcher who left Kaer Morhen before my arrival. His name is Berengar. Berengar was seen in the outskirts earlier. He agreed to kill the beast but then disappeared. Did he fear facing the monster? I've heard rumors that the famous bard and poet Dandelion visited the outskirts. I met Declan Loyvarden, a rich merchant from Nilfgaard, at the inn at the outskirts. Loyvarden seems resourceful and wealthy man with extensive contacts. He lives in the trade quarter of Vizima. During the day he can be found on the dike, where he runs his business. The calm and reasonable witcher from Kaer Morhen is my peer. Wonder how he got that disfiguring scar. Harenbrog. Harenbrog is a suspicious individual who fears only the reverend. He sneers at the law and surrounds himself with thugs who protect his shady dealings. Brog lives in the outskirts, a little lakeside settlement that he rules outright. He never strays far from his home. He runs a store trading in weapons and alchemical ingredients used to produce bombs. Kalkstein. This absent-minded alchemist seems nice, but it is obvious that his scientific theories are of greater concern to him than the more prosaic aspects of life. King of the Wild Hunt appeared again and appointed one of his wraiths to fight me. He exploited a weakness. The wraith was the specter of Leo, which is actually wrong. It didn't happen. It could happen if I chose different dialogue lines about believing in destiny. It would have happened in the crypt, but it didn't. This is a bug. Lambert, the young witcher I met at Kaer Morhen, sure has a biting tongue. He's rude, especially to Triss Merigold, whom he addresses by her last name. Leo is the youngest of Kaer Morhen's residents. He's not a full witcher, though he has completed his training. He has not been subject to mutation. Leo comes across as a hot-headed whelp, but is also kind-hearted and good. It appears Leo is somewhat fascinated with me. He has heard the ballads about the White Wolf, and now he holds me in high regard. Leo was killed by the Professor, one of the leaders of the assault at Kaer Morhen. The boy was too hasty and inexperienced. I wasn't able to help him, even though I was right beside him. Mikul is widely respected because he has become a city guard, and that's quite a career for someone from the outskirts. He seems lazy and lecherous. He cares little about the problems of the outskirts, and tends only to his own interests. By day he stands guard at the gate of Zima. Odo, the wealthiest person in the outskirts, is a grim drunkard who inherited a fortune from his brother. Odo is distrustful and stingy. He lives at the end of the village in a house surrounded by a fence with a high gate. The Professor. One of the leaders of the Salamandra attack on Kaer Morhen was a man called the Professor, who seemed to be a cunning assassin. The other leader was a mage. It turned out that the assault at Kaer Morhen was not the Professor's first foul deed. The arrest warrant shows clearly that my opponent is a wanted man. The Reverend. The leader of the community in the outskirts is a domineering priest of the eternal fire called the Reverend. His authority reaches well beyond the realm of spiritual. People from the town and the village in the outskirts do exactly what he says. The Reverend is a religious fanatic and a hypocrite. He easily finds guilt where it doesn't exist, ignoring real offenses. The Reverend lives in the town, just left of the temple. During the day he either prays or tends to the church. The witch Abigail was probably gone by the time I arrived at the Reverend's. Irreconcilable differences is all I can call it. We argued and I had to kill the priest. Shani. Soon after I arrived in the outskirts, I met Shani, an acquaintance from long ago, in quite dramatic circumstances. Shani is completely devoted to medicine, her passion, and she has plenty to do in the outskirts, so there was no time for small talk. I got the impression that she is a sensible, intelligent girl that likes me a lot. I dragged Shani into the business with the Salamandra, and although the girl was in danger, it all ended well. Shani finished what she had to do in the outskirts and returned to Vizima, to her house in the temple quarter. Triss Marigold. Along with me and the other witchers, Triss fought in the defense of Kaer Morhen. The sorceress stood against the mysterious mage, one of the leaders of the assault. She was injured and lost consciousness. Ironically, Triss is allergic to magic, and she can only be administered natural healing potions. Triss Marigold is my friend. She saw me die, and my return to the world of the living surprised her. Triss is a sorceress, one of the most influential and talented of her kind. She has numerous powerful friends, and she knows the Kaer Morhen witchers. She is one of the few people who know the way to the fortress. I have a feeling Triss likes me a lot. After Leo's funeral, the sorceress teleported to Vizima. She decided to use her extensive contacts and search for information on Salamandra. Triss promised to find me as soon as I arrive in Vizima. And obviously I have this. Vesemir. Vesemir is the oldest and most experienced witcher, possibly older than Kaer Morhen itself. He spends each winter in the fortress and sets off on the road when the spring comes, just like all the others. Despite his age, Vesemir is robust and lively. Many youngsters could envy him his health. An excellent fencer, he was the one who taught me swordsmanship. He has raised many witchers, including me. His disciples treat him like a father. Leo was probably the old witcher's last protege. The boy's death shocked him. He was one of the few to have survived the assault on Kaer Morhen. He is well aware of the magnitude of hatred some people feel for the witchers. Vesna, a barmaid from the tavern in the outskirts. Vesna is quite a determined girl. She sells food and alcohol. Zoltan Chive. I helped a dwarf being attacked by racists. He recognized me as an old friend of his. The dwarf's name is Zoltan Chive. He claims to have witnessed my death years ago in Rivia. Zoltan seems reasonable and pragmatic. He takes the world with a grain of salt and sees irony in most things. Just like the other non-humans, he also seems vexed by the racist atmosphere in Temeria. Locations. There is an old crypt in the outskirts, and it has not been used for a long time. People are afraid to enter it because of the monsters that dwell there. Rumor has it that a treasure is hidden inside the crypt. The truth is that the people of old were buried there with valuable items. Some of the graves of the wealthy were separated from the remainder of the crypt by an additional wall for fear of robbery. Hairy Bear Inn is a place of indiscriminate clientele. The innkeeper obviously holds back on the lie, though he waters down the ale generously enough. Patrons share the thin mattresses with rats, but most everyone can find their entertainments of choice here. Illegal fistfight enthusiasts, hustlers and drunkards will find something to do at the Hairy Bear. The inn at the outskirts was established to cater to the needs of travelers and merchants heading for Vizima. The owner has surrounded it with a high palisade. Although the inn doesn't feature extravagant comforts, it is a safe place to spend the night and eat a meal. The innkeeper also offers a wide selection of alcohol. It is a favorite meeting place for the inhabitants of the outskirts, and there's always someone to talk or to dice with. Kaer Morhen is an inaccessible fortress stronghold, which has been the headquarters of the Witchers Guild for centuries. The name comes from the language of the elves. The original translates into Old Sea Fortress. The castle's time of greatness has passed, the battlements and moat have deteriorated, and a cold wind blows through the spacious halls. Currently only a handful of Witchers live here, but many young boys underwent gruesome training along the infamous Gauntlet near Kaer Morhen. The famous Witcher Laboratory holds the most closely guarded secret of the cast: mutagenic plants, hallucinogenic mushrooms, natural stimulants and potion ingredients. It is here that young apprentices were subjected to the incredibly painful trial of the grasses, which only a few survived, gaining superhuman abilities in return. Temeria. Temeria's population is not exclusively human, it also includes dwarves, elves, gnomes and dryads. After the devastating war with Nilfgaard, many areas are haunted by monsters, which have hitherto not constituted a serious threat, while the realm's road are made unsafe by outlaws and common bandits. As a result, the Witcher's profession is once again in demand, though people continue to treat Witchers with caution and disdain, often calling them mutants and freaks. The Kingdom of Temeria has silver lilies on black background as its emblem. The powerful country has gained even more influence in recent years under the wise rule of King Foltest. Across the Pontar River, the kingdom borders Redania. To the south and east, it's hemmed in by the mountain ranges, including Mahakam, the mainstay of the dwarves and gnomes, past which lie the lands of Lyria and Edirn. The capital of Temeria is Vizima, lying on the shore of Lake Vizima. The second largest city is Maribor. Temeria mints its own coin, the Oren. The most widespread religious cults are the cult of Melitele and the belief in eternal fire. Temeria is home to the headquarters and many commanderies of the Order of the Flaming Rose. The outskirts. Just like any large city, Vizima also has its outskirts. Near the city walls and stand the houses of the town people who could not afford to live in the city or could not stand the stench of its gutters. A little further out, among fields and meadows, peasants have their thatched-roofed homes. Unfortunately, hard times have left their mark on the outskirts. Many houses are vacant, their owners killed in the war, slain by monsters, or taken by the plague which has ravaged the area. Monsters. Dog. I will not read all of this, I will just read the general description. Whoever claims that a dog is a man's best friend has probably never tamed a wyvern. Anonymous Druid. People say that Barghests are specters which materialize as ghastly dogs and persecute the living. According to some folktales, these monsters are the scouts of the Wild Hunt. Other legends say that the ghosts appear as a sign of divine retribution and embody revenge. However, all trials agree on one point: Barghests show all living no mercy. Bledzoiger. The Bledzoiger, a grotesque monster from the swamps, causes terror among the peasants because it pours its digestive juices over the wounds of those who are still alive, and then dines on their half-digested intestines. Drowned Dead. Particularly strong and dangerous drowners are known as the Drowned Dead. Simple people see no difference between the drowner and the drowned dead. Encountering either of them is equally deadly. We might suppose, though, that the most gloomy legends concern the drowned dead rather than the drowners. Drowners are scoundrels who ended their wicked lives in the water. Drowned alive or thrown into the deep water after death, they turn into vengeful creatures which stalk the inhabitants of coastal settlements. The Echinops. Echinopsae are monstrous plants which grow in places where terrible crimes have been committed. The beasts try to take their vengeance on criminals, but they do not spare the lives of innocents who haplessly enter their territory. Frightener. The first mage to create a Frightener was the infamous renegade Dagobert Sulla, a diligent student of the Zerrikanian masters of alchemy and the supervisor of the trial of the grasses carried out at Kaer Morhen. Upon beholding the abomination he has created, Sulla is said to have cried, "What have I done?" He destroyed the monster. His notes, however, survived. Ghouls. Ghouls are said to have been humans who were once forced into cannibalism and after many years spent in dark crypts underwent a horrifying transformation. Only human flesh will satisfy their eternal hunger, so they kill people and store their remains in the recesses of their lairs. Gravers. After the war with Nilfgaard, Gravers became a real plague. Until then, the monsters were familiar only to specialists and professional beast killers, thus everyone mistook them for ghouls. Today, any child could give an accurate description of a gravier, and people who have passed near the battlefields and necropolises offer first-hand accounts of the horrible murders committed by those ruthless necrophages. Wolf. There was so much snow that winter that we had to dig tunnels just to get to the privy and had icicles in our pants by the time we got back. Wolves came out of the forest, ate the cattle, and surrounded the house. They were howling madly. Surrounded by that pack of wolves, we felt like the three little pigs. Formula. Bindweed. Bindweed was created specifically to counter monsters which employ acid as a weapon. Witchers also call it swamp potion because monsters that spit acid or have caustic blood are most often found in swamps. This potion increases resistance to acid. Blizzard. Witchers usually drink the blizzard potion immediately before combat. The potion is also favored in especially dangerous situations. Blizzard is one of the most powerful Witcher potions. It improves reflexes and reaction time, allowing the Witcher to better parry and evade attacks. A cat is said to have been the first potion created specifically for Witchers. The concoction allows Witchers to pursue monsters into their lairs, including dark caves, ruins, and crypts, because it augments vision to pick up additional wavelengths of light. To prevent blinding, the imbiber's pupils automatically narrow when in bright light. This is possibly the potion most commonly used by the Witchers. This potion grants vision in total darkness. Sinfrid oil. The formula for this substance comes from the city of Sinfrid, where it is widely employed by the dark characters of any kind. A blade coated with this substance causes crippling pain to a wounded creature. Creatures which feel no pain are immune to its effects. The Frightener's Vision. The sorcerers who pioneered the Witcher mutations discovered that the mixing rare and powerful ingredients with more common substances resulted in potions that strengthened the Witcher's mutations. The potion made with the Frightener's Eye transforms and fortifies a Witcher's body when consumed. When imbibed, this mutagenic potion adds 1 bronze talent, which can be used to acquire enhancements. Hellhound's Soul. Witchers are capable of extracting components even from the carcasses of unique creatures. This potion formula requires the iridescent mark of the mythical Hellhound, known also as the Beast. The resulting beverage causes further mutation in the Witcher's body. King and Queen. Zerrikanian wizards have mastered the dangerous craft of crafting explosives. King and Queen is an example of their handiwork. Such a simple-looking item, and yet it is enough to send enemies scrambling, panic in their eyes. Upon detonation, this bomb magically evokes fear in the hearts of opponents. Necrophage oil. Necrophages are accustomed to the poisonous vapors, yet even the most rancid ghouls and graviers cannot withstand the poison wounds inflicted by the blade coated with this oil. A blade coated with this substance inflicts increased damage on necrophages. Potion for Triss. According to Lambert's instructions, the potion for the unconscious sorcerer Triss can be made out of celandine, a frightener's claw, and sound mushroom, though calcium egg foam can replace the latter ingredient. Once gathered, these components should be mixed with the white gall. This potion is intended for Triss and has no other use. Spectre Oil. There is a mystical boundary between the worlds of the dead and the living, one which is easier to cross for the restless spectres than for humans. To injure a spectral opponent, first anoint the blade with this oil. Only then will the weapon truly pass the curtain dividing the world, thereby damaging the spectre. A blade coated with this substance causes increased damage to spectres. Swallow. There is no bird more beautiful than the swallow, the harbinger of spring. Even the dark mages who developed the formula for the Witcher's potion appreciated the charm of this bird, lending its name to the potion that accelerates regeneration of a mutated organism. Swallow accelerates the regeneration of vitality. Tawny owl. In preparation for all-night vigil at the side of the cursed man, or before a battle that is certain to be prolonged, a witcher mixes a dose of Tawny Owl potion to boost his endurance. Significantly increases endurance regeneration. It is particularly valued by witchers who often use signs in combat. Thunderbolt. Witchers take this potion before fighting strong, heavily armed opponents. Imbibing Thunderbolt causes witchers to enter into a battle trance. While in this state, witchers attack more efficiently and cause greater damage, while at the same time neglecting their own defense and becoming easier targets. Greatly increases damage inflicted on opponents, but makes dodging and parrying impossible. White Gall. White gall is a mild hallucinogenic which provides pleasure during the long nights witchers spend at their fortress waiting out the winter. The witchers make this potion using secret saprophytes grown in the dungeons of Kaer Morhen, but it can also be made from more commonly available ingredients. It is a hallucinogenic beverage, but it can also be used to create other potions. It serves as a base for more complex potions, accommodating up to 5 other ingredients. White honey strongly stimulates the production of purifying enzymes in the witcher's mutated bodies. Thus, it frees the bodies of the effects of toxicity, although it simultaneously nullifies the beneficial effects of any potions previously consumed. While white honey does not alleviate the effects of common venoms and poisons, reduces toxicity to 0, and cancels all the effects of other potions. I will not be reading about ingredients, because that seems pointless. It just tells me what it is derived from or something. That's not particularly interesting. I'll just cross them all out, for the UI to register it as read. Glossary. Additional substances. An alchemical ingredient can contain one of 3 additional substances, albedo, nigredo, and rubedo. If all of the ingredients chosen for the creation of a potion have identical additional substances, the resulting potion will provide additional benefits beyond its basic effect. Albedo potions characterized by a lower level of toxicity. Nigredo potions affect coordination and concentration, increasing damage inflicted on opponents. Rubedo potions, aside from the potion's primary effect, also regenerate lost vitality. Okay, so Nigredo gives me additional damage. That's good to know. I didn't remember that. I just remembered Rubedo. Catriona, a disease which quickly spread throughout all of the northern countries after the war with Nilfgaard. Those who suffer from Catriona die a terrible death. Their convulsions become stronger each day. They vomit blood and mucus and have bloody diarrhea. After a fortnight or so, they die in agony. Cult of the Eternal Fire. Worshippers of the Eternal Fire believe in the undying flame as a symbol of survival and guide through the darkness. They view it as a harbinger of progress and of better days to come. Clerics of the Eternal Fire oversee the faithful as well as their temples, where flames burn continuously. The Order of the Flaming Rose is the cult's militant arm. Dwarves. Dwarves are shorter than humans, but tougher and more muscular. Male dwarves wear long beards. They are usually gruffy but can be merry, and are renowned for their stubbornness. Considered excellent craftsmen and warriors, many have earned a grudging acceptance in the human society. Still, it's not uncommon for young dwarves to join the Scoia'tael rebels to fight for more rights for non-humans, and an end to the persecution. Dwarves are one of the elder races. They were once a dominant race along with the elves, but now their sole enclave is Mahakam, a mountain city rich in metal and mineral deposits. Of all of the elder races, the dwarves have assimilated best, and many now live in human cities. They run businesses and are often wealthy, although they meet with disdain and distrust. During the war with Nilfgaard, dwarves made a name for themselves as mercenaries, although many of them also fought in the Scoia'tael commando units against the northern kingdoms. Elves. After gnomes, elves are the eldest race on the continent, which is actually, I'm pretty sure, a lie. It's directly contradicted by the books, which actually states that gnomes are the oldest race, then the dwarves, and then the elves. Like, the dwarves were already here before the elves, and they actually fought a war. But I am going to post relevant sort of passages from the book in the description to confirm. But anyway, this journal claims that after gnomes, elves are the eldest race on the continent. They created a magnificent civilization, and the greatest human cities like Vizima and Oxenford were built on elven ruins. Elves also have a special affinity for magic, although their magic is different from that of humans. Elves are long-lived, and yet the reproductive period of their lives ends quite early, and moreover, they reproduce much more slowly than humans. This is why they were defeated, the reason why they lost their preeminence in the world. Today, only two enclaves of the race remain: the Blue Mountains, where the elves suffer privation and are dying out, and Dol Blatana, the Valley of the Flowers, which is ruled by the sorceress Enid Anglena. The Valley of the Flowers is a dependency of Nilfgaard. Elves are a beautiful and long-lived race. They have pointed ears, sharp features, and possess no canine teeth. Elves are arrogant and proud, and over many centuries they have developed a high and sophisticated culture. Few remain today, however, and those are in constant conflict with human civilization. This is why so many young elves, eager to fight for their rights, join the Scoia'tael commando units. Gnomes are secretive and mysterious. Most of them live in Mahakam and are allied with the dwarves. They seldom interact with humans. Gnomes are talented craftsmen, miners and inventors. Their technology is superior to that of humans, and gnome weapons can be equaled by no others. They are also considered the eldest race on the continent. Iflin's prophecy, an old elven prophecy about the end of the world. The wolf's blizzard approaches, the time of sword and axe, the time of the white frost and the white light, the time of madness and disdain, Ted Dayreth, the final age. The world will perish amidst ice and be reborn with the new sun, reborn of elder blood, of hen ichor, of a planted seed, a seed that will not sprout but burst into flames. Iflin, an elven prophetess, is famous for her foretelling of the end of the world. According to her prophecy, the world will be destroyed in an ice age, and all humans will die. The only survivors will be elves, saved by the offspring of the elder blood, known also as the Swallow. Several signs will herald the destruction of the world, and the cataclysm will begin when the elven blood soaks the earth. This will mark the advent of the time of disdain, the axe and wolf's blizzard, which can be interpreted as a long war or return to barbarism. Mages. Only rare individuals have the potential to become mages, and many of those with this potential are doomed to madness. Unless the individual in question, known also as a source, learn to control their powers quickly, he or she may end up as a half-insane, slobbering oracle. This is why schools of sorcery were created, where talented children study for many years, acquiring knowledge and mastering magical skills. Because of their powers, mages age more slowly than ordinary people. They can extract magical energy from the four elements, transport themselves long distances and heal, as well as kill in the blink of an eye. They have extensive scientific and political knowledge. In the latter respect, many mages are the equals of rulers. Simple folk fail to see the difference between witches, sorcerers, and witchers. Anyone who wields magic is regarded as suspicious and godless, but the better educated and those who dwell in large cities know to treat mages with due respect. Magic is the art of bending the power of chaos to one's will. Practitioners of the art must master a vast and complicated corpus of knowledge, and it seems women have a special predisposition for it. Sorcerers seek out talented children and teach them. The power bound in spell formulae can be used for healing, teleportation, destruction, creating illusions, or altering form. The most famous spells are named after their creators, for example, Azur's Thunder or Marigold's Hailstorm. Thanks to magic, it is also possible to create magical glyphs and amulets, such as the Witcher's medallions. The Witcher's signs are very simple spells, mostly kinetic or mind-influencing. To use them, one needs concentrated will and a hand gesture. Casting signs is not as time-consuming, so witchers use them when fighting monsters. Medicine. For centuries, diseases have plagued mankind, yet when Jan Becker subjected the power to his will, people gained a powerful weapon in the fight against disease. Mages study bacteria and viruses, the way germs spread, as well as genetics. Their research is used by medics who set up hospitals and produce increasingly effective medicines. There are also magical potions capable of healing the wounds and internal injuries. Many magic users, such as Marty Sodegren or Vicenna, have become healers, traveling the world and using their magic for the good of others. Scoia'tael are the group of elven and dwarven rebels fighting against the discrimination of non-humans. They are divided into commando groups or independent squads. Their protest against racism quickly turned to violence. Scoia'tael rob merchant caravans, plunder and burn villages and kill. Instead of fighting a peaceful solution, humans send troops to fight them. Scoia'tael means squirrel in Elven, and the name probably comes from the rebels' habit of attaching squirrel tails to their clothing. Temerian history. The first Nilfgaardian invasion began 10 years ago. After crossing the Yaruga River, the Black Ones attacked Sintra. The capital was taken by surprise, its citizens slaughtered, and the queen committed suicide. Brugge, Soden, and Temeria stood against Nilfgaard. It seemed that the Nilfgaardian offensive was unstoppable, but the three states managed to halt it at the Battle of Soden. Although 21 mages fought for the northern kingdoms, 14 of whom died, yet in the end it was the mages who negotiated a truce. After 3 peaceful years, during a meeting of the Brotherhood of Sorcerers, there occurred a schism in the organization, and its members fought each other. As a result, many died, and the Brotherhood disbanded. At the same time, the imperial forces attacked the northern kingdoms. The kings were divided, arguing, and couldn't face Nilfgaard on their own. King Foltest signed a truce with the Black Ones, yet it proved short-lived. The imperial army pushed forward, and it was not defeated until the Battle of Brenna. The victory proved pivotal, reminding the feuding rulers that Nilfgaard is not invincible, and the kings of the north reunited and faced the Black Ones together. Finally, a peace treaty was signed, changing the balance of power in the world forever. Before Lara Dorren died in solitude, she gave birth to a daughter who was adopted by the Queen of Redania and named Rhiannon. At the age of 17, Rhiannon married Gedemar, the king of Temeria. 3 years after the wedding, the famous Falka rebellion began, during which the pregnant Rhiannon was accidentally captured. In prison, she gave birth to twins and subsequently descended into madness. At the same time, the fierce Falka gave birth to a daughter, whom she abandoned to wage war, leaving the child for the mad prisoner to nurse. Soon thereafter, the rebellion was suppressed. Falca was captured and burned at the stake, and King Gedemar regained his wife with 3 children. I'm not quite sure how this links with this. Like, this codex entry is structured in a weird way, because it isn't a continuous story of Temeria. It's more like bits and pieces from the history of Temeria. Witchers. Due to their otherness, unusual abilities, and magic skills, Witchers are treated as outcasts and sometimes even met with hatred. This hatred was made manifest during the infamous attack on Kaer Morhen, which led to the destruction of the fortress and to the death of most of the Witchers wintering there. Those who survived are doomed to extinction, since they can no longer train successors. People need the Witchers, but are simultaneously afraid of them. The itinerant warriors inspire fear because they are mutants and have superhuman powers. A Witcher is rarely a welcome guest, and contacts with members of the profession are almost always limited to business. Witchers are invariably attacked during pogroms and social upheavals directed against those who deal with magic. Mutagents and magics render the Witcher's bodies resistant to all kinds of disease, even to the point of outright immunity. I obviously have no need and no desire to read the tutorials. I will just click on all of them to sort of mark them as read. Okay, that wasn't as long as I thought it would be. That's all for this one. Normal gameplay will resume next time. For now, that's all. I will see you in the next one. Bye.